The idea had been brewing in my mind for years. Every time I came home late from work, exhausted but still buzzing from the day's chaos, I'd find myself staring at the walls of my office, imagining a different life. I'd built my business from the ground up, poured my heart and soul into it, and for a long time, it was everything I wanted. But then, as the years passed, the thrill began to fade. It wasn't that I didn't love what I did in a way. But I started to realize that there was more to life than work, more than just the grind, more than the endless cycle of meetings, phone calls, and deadlines. My wife, Helena, had always been supportive, always there to listen when I came home late, always understanding when I missed another family dinner. But I could see it in her eyes, the longing for something more, something beyond the four walls of our house, beyond the small circle of our daily routine. And then there were the kids, 5 of them, all under the age of 10. I could see the same longing in their eyes too, the desire for adventure, for something beyond the confines of our suburban life. It was during one of those late nights, sitting in my office with a glass of whiskey in hand, that the idea finally solidified. We could sell the business, buy a camping van, and travel the world as a family. We'd take the kids out of school, give them a real education, one that didn't come from books or classrooms but from the world itself. We'd explore new places, meet new people, learn new things. It would be an adventure like no other, a chance to live life to the fullest, to show our kids that there was more to the world than just what was outside our front door. The idea was exhilarating, and for the first time in years, I felt truly excited about the future. I shared my plan with Helena, and her eyes lit up with excitement. She'd always been the adventurous type, always dreaming of traveling the world, of seeing new places. The kids too were thrilled at the idea of living in a camping van, of seeing the world. But there was one big obstacle in the way: my business. It wasn't just any business, it was a niche business, one that catered to a very specific market. I'd spent years building it up, establishing relationships with clients, creating a brand that was well respected in the industry. But selling a niche business wasn't easy. There weren't a lot of potential buyers out there, and those who were interested didn't fully understand the value of what I'd built. I started looking for buyers, reaching out to potential investors, but the offers that came in were disappointing. They didn't see the value in the business, didn't understand the potential it had. They wanted to buy it for a fraction of what it was worth, and I couldn't bring myself to sell it for less than its true value. I knew what the business was worth. I'd built it from nothing, seen it grow and thrive, and I wasn't about to let it go for pennies. Weeks turned into months, and with each passing day, my frustration grew. I started to doubt whether I'd ever be able to sell the business, whether I'd ever be able to make our dream a reality. The stress of it all was starting to take its toll. I was irritable, short-tempered, and I could see the worry in Helena's eyes. The kids too could sense that something was wrong. They didn't understand the details, but they knew that the dream we talked about was slipping further and further away. It was during one of those sleepless nights, lying in bed with my mind racing, that I remembered something I'd read about years ago: manifestation. The idea that you could create your own reality, that you could bring things into your life just by focusing on them, by believing that they were already yours. Sounded too good to be true, too simplistic. But I was desperate, and I was willing to try anything. I started small, just trying to focus on what I wanted, to imagine it as if it was already real. I pictured myself selling the business for the price it was worth, handing over the keys to a buyer who truly understood its value. I imagined the sense of relief, of freedom, of knowing that we could finally start our adventure, that we could finally live the life we'd been dreaming of. Every night, I'd lie in bed and picture it in my mind, the sale going through, the excitement of telling Helena and the kids, the thrill of buying the camping van, of setting off on the open road. I'd imagine every detail: the buyer's handshake, the signing of the papers, the feel of the keys in my hand as I handed them over. And with each passing day, the image became clearer, more real. But it wasn't just about imagining it. I knew I had to take action too. I started refining my sales pitch, focusing on the unique aspects of the business, the things that made it special. I reached out to more potential buyers, casting a wider net, looking for someone who truly understood what the business was worth. And as I did, I kept focusing on that image in my mind, on the belief that the right buyer was out there, that the sale would go through, that our dream would become a reality. Weeks went by and I started to notice a shift. The offers that were coming in were better, closer to what I knew the business was worth. The buyers I was talking to were more interested, more engaged, asking the right questions, showing a real understanding of the business. It was like the universe was starting to align, like the pieces were finally falling into place. And then one day it happened. I got a call from a potential buyer who was interested in meeting in person. We arranged to meet at the office, and from the moment he walked in, I could tell he was different. He wasn't just interested in the numbers, he was interested in the business itself, in what it stood for, in the relationships I'd built with my clients. He understood the value of what I'd created, and he was willing to pay what it was worth. We spent hours talking, going over the details, and by the end of the meeting, I knew I'd found the right buyer. We shook hands, and I felt a sense of relief, of excitement, of knowing that the dream was finally within reach. The next few weeks were a blur of activity, signing papers, transferring ownership, tying up loose ends. But through it all, I couldn't stop thinking about what was coming next, about the adventure that lay ahead. The day I handed over the keys to the new owner, I felt a mix of emotions, pride in what I'd built, sadness at saying goodbye, but mostly excitement for the future. With the sale complete, we wasted no time. We found the perfect camping van, a spacious, well-equipped vehicle that would be our home on the road. We spent the next few weeks packing up our belongings, saying goodbye to friends and family, and getting ready for the journey ahead. The day we set off was one of the happiest days of my life. The kids were bouncing with excitement, Helena was beaming, and I felt a sense of freedom that I hadn't felt in years. We had no set itinerary, no fixed plans, just the open road and a world of possibilities ahead of us. As we traveled, we discovered new places, met new people, and experienced things we'd only ever dreamed of. The kids learned more in those first few months on the road than they ever had in school. They saw different cultures, tried new foods, learned about history and geography in a way that no textbook could ever teach them. And through it all, I felt a deep sense of gratitude. Gratitude for the life we were living, for the experiences we were having, for the opportunity to show my kids that there was more to life than just the daily grind. And gratitude for the power of manifestation, for the belief that had led us to this moment, for the vision that had become our reality. Looking back on it now, I realized that the sale of the business was just the beginning. It was the first step in a journey that has taken us to places we never could have imagined, that has brought us closer as a family, that has taught us more about life, about ourselves, than we ever could have learned by staying in one place. And as we continue on this journey, I know that there are still more adventures ahead, more dreams to be realized. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that anything is possible if you truly believe it is. The world is out there waiting to be explored, and we're ready for whatever comes next.